Hi everyone. Honestly, I just finished I just finished a video. I didn't even know I was gonna be emotional about it, but I'm sure that's a video that you watch it. It would have been uploaded before this one. But it's just that sometimes when you just remember the journey that you've been through, and you're wondering how I fought. I just finished that video and the tears are still there. I've fought. I've fought in this life. I've fought to survive. I've come from such a long way. Sometimes, when you're in the midst of survival mode, you're just walking, you're just, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. I'm the firstborn in my family. You know what firstborn is? With I have a lot of first this, first that, first that. It's such a burden. So I have to fight. I grew up in the ghetto. I'm the firstborn. I mean, the first boy we had was like how old? Well, I think is the how now? I have myself, but I think he's the fourth born or the fifth born. Yeah, I'm one, two, three, four, five. He's the fifth born. So growing up in the ghetto, of course, with fights and everything, you have to fight too. I laugh a lot when I see people they want to take on Aisha. I've been fighting all my life, physically, mentally, verbally. I get mouth. My mouth no good. I never see my mouth. I dey measure am because I tell people I'm a born bully, but I just thank God for what God has given me, the act of empathy. I am too empathetic, so I think so. I feel for some, so I don't because I have all the characteristics to actually be a bully. I get mad to be something, so I get power. So I grew up fighting, even in the university. Sometimes I think of those days. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm so sorry. This is gonna be a whole emotional, but sometimes, ah, I, I was telling someone the other day. I'm like, and how bad Nigeria has been, how degraded it's been. And these days, I think about what this is and how lots of families now will be suffering. I saw someone like, hey, when that boy we head no correct, maybe like a unfinished download of his father wanted to come to me. I'm like, you don't know. You think you grew up in the ghetto. You want to form you grew up in the shrine in the ghetto. You don't know ghetto. Ghetto rough. Ghetto no be place where person dey for grow. E rough. E rough. Papa go dey fight papa, mama go dey fight mama, children go dey fight dem the other children, family dey fight. We dey do family fight. Oh, na hunger, na suffer, na suffer. Whew. When I see people who are like adulting is a scam, they want to be kids, I'm like, eh? I couldn't wait to be an adult. I couldn't wait. Childhood was terrible. Childhood was mad. Imagine waiting all day, staying all day, not having food to eat. I'm so grateful for the kind of upbringing my parents gave us. Even if we would die, we would never collect anything from you. That was the discipline we have. And I'm so grateful to God for that. That no matter how there were days we from morning to night, my parents didn't have anything to give us. They didn't have food to eat. I remember one time, I think I've shared this before. One day there was no food, nothing. My mom said to my dad, please go and meet your sister, at least borrow some money from her. And this is something, my father was the breadwinner of the family. He carried everyone, all the family. So even if he had asked for them for anything, they would gladly give him. He did so much for them. And then he lost his business. And I was from a life of I always tell people they took me to school. I'm the firstborn. So my parents really took care of me. They took me to school in this Peugeot 504 station wagon filled with provision. That's why they used to take me to school, filled with provision. And midway, they came to pick me because I had gotten admission to a private school, which is the school I went to, BUK Staff Secondary School. And my mom was asking me, "Well, do you still have pocket money that they gave you?" Apparently, we had gone so poor that my mom had never asked me for pocket money they had given me. There was nothing. So it was like, for me, it was like this. That's up to today. I have no attachment to anything. I have no attachment to money because I always feel as if I will lose it. Because I saw my father lose everything in the twinkle of an eye. We lost everything. And life was difficult, extremely difficult. And so my father was a breadwinner, helped everyone. And then at one time, my mom told my father, "Okay, because we've not eaten all day, nothing." I said, "Go and meet your sister and borrow some money so that we have something to eat." My father walked, and maybe it was maybe to be like either 30 minutes of it, maybe or an hour's walk together, maybe an hour's walk together. We lived in Kwanahodu. She lived in Brigade around bus stop, Lai Pompo. I think Lai Pompo, that's what they call that place. And she used to fry akara, yam and stuff like that. My father went there and he couldn't ask. He couldn't ask his immediate junior sister, whom he had helped so much. Whom, if he and I know if he had even opened his mouth to her, so she would have given him. It's not as if this is someone I would not give him. This is because of what he had done for that family. And my father went there and he just greeted her. This when he was going back, she now said to him, "Oh, take this and give to the children." So she packed plantain, yeah, blah 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 blah. "Oh, give to the children." That was what we ate the whole day. And so when he came back, I still remember, my father coming back. Was still a child. Because I'm one person who grew up. I grew up very fast, I read, I don't know, I was like an old person in a small child. So I grew up, quite fast. I wasn't like a child and I had to do a lot of growing up. And when my father came back, my mom was like, "Did you collect the money? Did she give you?" And my father said he couldn't ask. They always say this thing about, "Oh, how do people you want to cry, you now carry camera and be crying." Sometimes, the tears just coming when you just think about those things. The first time I had a sister, the first time she saw me cry was in 2014. That was the first time I could really sit down to think about my life. And my father told my mom he couldn't ask. And so he brought her the akara she had packed. And I'm sure if she knew we hadn't eaten all day, she would have packed more. And that was the only thing we ate all that day. I think it was my father and I think we were 5 children, or was it 6 children? No, I think we were 5 or 6. I know definitely it was before it was definitely before 1990. So we've not had the last born. It hurts me. So when I think of all this and that Nigeria is still like this, and that there are children who are going through what I went through, I just feel as if I've failed. When people see me, they're like, "Oh, Aisha," even like when we're doing when BBOG, when we still went to the fountain. "Oh, Aisha, you're taking this into personal." Yes, it's personal to me. Because for every time I failed, another child is out there in Nigeria is suffering. It's as if I failed myself because I used to wonder, where are the adults? And today I am the adult that children are wondering where I am. I fought with my dad and I said to my dad, "Why couldn't you keep the Nigeria that you had?" Because my dad would tell me about the Nigeria. We would discuss politics. I started discussing politics with my dad maybe at the age of 8, 9. We would discuss politics. I will read newspaper. We will explain. My father used to send me to go and buy newspaper. 1 naira, you give me, I'll buy 5 newspapers. Five of the 2020 cover. Sometimes today I used to sit down. I want to remember all the newspaper. I can't remember. I know it was New Nigeria, Concord, uh, was it Business Time, Daily Times? No, Daily Times. There was another one from Edo. Ah, and today, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts that this country is being destroyed by a few people. And even then, it was a few people who were just greedy and wanted to keep everything for themselves. That's why for me, on my 40th birthday, I promise God that if He gives me another 40 years, I'm gonna use it to fight for Nigeria. So if anybody thinks I'm gonna go away anytime soon, they've got a second thinking coming. I will stay here no matter what it takes. I will fight, even if it means giving up on my life. I don't mind. I will fight that fight. And by the grace of God, I'm not gonna give up. You see this fight, we must take it on. I didn't start fighting today. I started fighting as a 13-year-old, as a 14-year-old. And seeing all the things. There was a day I walked to school. I think I was in SS3. As I was walking to school, as I was going up, they rang the bell. It was closing time. So as I was walking up, all my classmates came out. They just started laughing at me. They were like, "Oh, Aisha, you're just coming." They were making fun. They laughed at me. And do you know why I was late? It was fuel scarcity. There were no vehicles. I waited and waited and waited and waited. And there was none. How old was I then? Maybe 14. And I'm almost, in the next few weeks, I'll be 51. And there's the issue of and I walked. So at one time when the vehicles weren't there, they weren't stopping. So I started walking. If I had even started all the way in the morning, I might have gotten there. So I started walking. And by the time I was getting to school, they were ringing the last bell. And sometimes I think, why didn't I just turn and go home? Why did I still walk to school? Because I wanted education so badly. Badly. I wanted education. I would do my homework in school as we're closing. This person will come and pick them. Because I went to school with, quite rich people. I went to an expensive private secondary school. That's what made the difference. If I had finished from the government school, I wouldn't even be able to speak English. And my dad, when he had invested in shares, he had shares. So that's why I'm so passionate about passive income. And so I think my school fees was 300 naira. Just for you to understand, to understand the context, my school fees was 300 naira per term. My sister's school fees, the one following me that attended government school, her school fees was 25 naira per session. And she was in a boarding school. So what I spent in one term is like more than right? Almost like how many years of her own school. Whew. So many. Or is it the one? No. Every day I drive past children in school uniform, I remember the promise I made to myself that every child I see on the road, I'll pick them when I grow up and I have a car. And every day I'm driving in a car and I pass a child in a uniform, I feel pain. Because we promised ourselves, myself and my friend Bolanle. I don't know where Bolanle is today. I've tried to ask of her, I've tried to find her. I probably might put her picture here. Just if anybody knows Bolanle, help me find Bolanle, because I just want to see Bolanle and find out how she is. Because we suffered. Bolale then was living with her, I think her brother. She was living with her brother and his wife. Yeah, at Ahmadiyya. And we would walk. There was a time we didn't have anybody to pick us. We would walk. Every day after school, we walk like how many hours? I can't even remember. And then you go home, and then you're gonna get some either beating or whatever. You came late, you probably went there, then meanwhile you were walking. I don't know why I'm emotional today, Sha. I don't know. But hey, these things happen. It does happen. It's and for me, I'm never ashamed of breaking down. I'm never ashamed. I don't feel anything when I cry. I'm a very transparent person. If I'm happy, I laugh, I dance. If I'm sad, it comes out. I've really been sad all day. I just say there's just this ostentatious display of wealth by criminals, people who have stolen this country, right? People who have harmed this country, throwing wealth in our faces. It just hurts. It hurts. I've been so angry about it. Probably after this video, I'll just go back and actually continue what I'm doing. But it really hurts. Oh, wow. We keep going. That's why when I say to people, giving up on Nigeria is not an option. For me, I will never give up on this country. I will never. So I have, alhamdulillah, from where I'm coming from to where I am right now, and they're two separate words. I remember in the year 2000, I drove home. I will never forget. As I just remember it, I'm saying it now. I'm seeing the whole picture in my face. No, it's either the year 2000, the year 1999, or the year 2000. I think it was the year 2000. Yeah, that was when I started driving. I started driving in the year 2000. And so I had gone home to go and visit my parents. And then there was another lady that we grew up together with, my childhood friend. We grew up together. She was in the next company. So she also had come to visit. So after the visitation, everything, I came out and I entered. I was entering my car and then she came out. Anytime I think about it. And she came and she looked at me. She said, why did she do that? Because I was driving a car. For where we grew up, driving a car. I mean, when I used to go to my parents' house, literally, kids will come out and they'll be following my car. Mace da tuƙin mota, mace da tuƙin mota. I'm gonna hold 2009, 2000. As in, they'll be shouting, a woman is driving a car, a woman is driving a car. And this friend of mine, we grew up together, but they never had education. Some of them got married when they were 12. I remember there was a girl, she was our junior, she was my junior. I think she was about 8 or 9 when she got married. Even at that time, because even amongst the other people, where people got married at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15, people were angry because they were just little kids and their manners were with them. I also was a child then, and when they're getting married, because we're all friends, so what you do is that you escort the person to the husband's place. And I remember when we were taking her, she was crying and crying and crying. That's where I grew up. My friends, some of them, they never left these trenches. They didn't have the tools to leave the trenches. Possibly had their kids and all of that. Anytime I remember how she looked at me, because she was transfixed. Our existence wasn't the one that we were supposed to drive cars, wasn't the one that we were supposed to be seeing. And so it was like being in the moon. I grew up in a place where people couldn't even dream to buy a bicycle because it was something that they couldn't afford. And so she looked at me, she was like, So my name is Aisha, right? All my life growing up, I was called Ai. It's a short form for Aisha, or they call you Indo Hausa. For everybody who is called Aisha, it's called Indo in the Hausa land. So is that Indo or Aisha? But I was called more of Ai. So it was in the school, like in the educational center. That's why they called me Aisha. So and then Aisha, of course, went back home and everything, and she was just and she came over. Kina took motor, you're driving a car. There was something we couldn't. I remember as a child, I wanted to drive a car. It was one of my goals in life. I just wanted it because I saw a lot of people who drove cars, the few women. And it wasn't even about women, but people who do it were people who were educated. And so I was determined to be educated because I wanted to drive a car. I wanted to leave the trenches. I read a lot of books. Yeah, I'll just stop this.